everybody. Welcome to the premiere episode of the Drupa DNA Deep Dive. I'm Deborah Korn, your intergalactic ambassador from Print Media Center. I am also co-hosting the Drupa DNA Forum in Hall 7 with Frank Tuckmantle throughout Drupa, which is May 28th through June 7th of 2024. Hope you can make it to the show and, of course, to visit us in Hall 7 for Drupa DNA. Right now, I would like everyone to know more about my friend for a very long time, Mr. Magazine, Dr. Samir Husni. He is the world's foremost expert on not just magazines, right? Or publishing in general, all of publishing, but he is collectively known to the world as Mr. Magazine. Thank you so much for joining me today, sir.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you for hosting me, and thank you for being in such a platform that I'm looking forward to go to.
Excellent. So, can you let everybody know a little bit more about you and your work at the Magazine Media Center?
I've retired from teaching in 2021 after 37 years of teaching magazine publishing, magazine management, magazine history, you name it. If it dealt with magazines and print, I taught it. And after I retired, uh, found myself with a big, huge collection of magazines that I collected over the years, mainly first editions. That at the last count ended up being 188,300 magazines. And I figured, what should I do with them? I mean, we are living in such a digital age, but there's nothing like print that can document and tell you really what happened at any specific time. And you can just reach to a magazine from 1937 and see what was going on that day, on that week, you name it. So I decided to donate my collection to my alma mater, the University of Missouri in Columbia, Missouri. And graciously, they came and sent 2.5 semi-trucks and moved the magazines to their library, in which the librarians there archived the magazines and are taking good care of them. So anybody wants to do any research, anybody wants to look into the magazine business over the years, can go to the University of Missouri in Columbia and be able to do that. And then the idea came to me that after years of founding the Magazine Innovation Center, I figured, like, what's really most needed nowadays in our industry? And I felt the preservation of the past, present, and the future of the magazine and the print industry is essential and is very needed in this day and age. So I decided to create this center. I know I'm a one-man person, like, handling this thing, but I figured through my Mr. Magazine blog, mrmagazine.me, and my website, I mean, I can continue my interviews. I can interview all the CEOs of the major media companies and ask about the importance of print, like why print is so important in this digital age. And I've been amazed, I mean, day after day with the answers, with the interview I receive on the place of print in today's uh, digital age. It's amazing, you know. It reminds me with the old saying, like, you know, when people invented the microwave, they did not throw the stoves out. They still have the.
Yeah, I mean, this is true, but certainly the world is evolving. Sports Illustrated just closed down, yeah, the other day. So there's still some writing of the ships that have to go on there. In the publishing business, figuring out the correct business model. Would you agree with that?
Sure, definitely, definitely. I mean, and change is the only constant in our business, and that's one thing I'm going to talk about at Drupa Cube on May 29. Is that we have to accept the fact that things continue changing. I mean, if you look at the magazines from 1950 and the magazines from 2020, they are not the same. I mean, the quality is different, the writing is different, the packaging is different, and same thing with 2023. Uh, if we don't change, we are going to die. I mean, keeping the status quo is nothing but a way to decline. We
Right.
have to reinvent ourselves. We have to reinvent our connection with our audience. That's why I keep on saying audience first, audience first. I mean, if you do not respect the fact that your bread and butter is based upon your relationship with your customer, the reader, the viewer, the searcher, the listener, you name it, then you are going to be out of business. No matter how big you are, no matter how uh, important you are. You mentioned Sport Illustrated. I mean, which venture capitalist in today's market will accept to lose money for 12 years? That's what happened when Henry Luce started Sport Illustrated. The magazine lost money for 12 years. And yet he continued with the magazine, and you know the success story it became. Our problem today is we're missing those entrepreneurs with a journalistic drive. I mean, almost all our business, all our media business is now owned by venture capitalists, owned by big corporations, where they look at the stock market every single quarter, if not every single day. Uh, but when the magazines, like from the days of DeWitt Wallace and Hugh Hefner and all the other folks, I mean, they launched Reader Digest, they launched Playboy, they TV Guide. I mean, all these magazines were the uh, sort of like the dream come true for their inventors, for their creators. And that's what we are missing to today's. I mean, yes, we still have a lot of magazines in the marketplace, but it's Me Too, Me Three, Me Four, Me Five.
Yeah.
I mean, how many magazines do you really need about cats or about dogs or about like Mediterranean diet? I mean, it is yet. I mean, you see how the market is flooded with those titles, and especially in the before the pandemic. I mean, we were like bombarded by magazines, and I've tracked the new magazines since I came to the United States since 1978, and I saw the numbers gradually go up from 234 back in the late 70s all the way to reaching like 500, 600, 700. Uh, and then, of course, the pandemic came and everything changed. Not only the
Right.
magazines, the whole entire country, the whole entire world, everything changed. And the sad part is a lot of our publishers did not change with that climate.
Yeah.
They try to do the more of the same thing, and you know, as the Chinese or Einstein or whoever you want to give credit to say, like, you know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results every time.
Yeah. I mean, we live in a world now of consistent, like attention grabbing things. And I have always looked at magazines, newspapers as the place to go for the full story, for the researched story, for the truth in what I believe the definition of that is, because there are fact checkers, there are people to make sure that what they're saying will not there, it's not libelous or slanderous, whatever that is. And it's difficult now to maintain that audience. But you and I have had this discussion before, in the sense that to the point you just made, that even in those years where the printing industry looks at publishing and thinks, oh, the sky is falling, from the publishing side of things, they believe it's growing because there are new titles. And our last conversation, you happened to mention to me that houseplants were a very popular topic for niche magazines. And I'm not sure if I sent you the picture, but when I went to the my grocery store, which is where I told you is the only place I see magazines anymore, there were two magazines dedicated to houseplants. It was crazy, but I think that's what you're saying here, that the content has to be driven by what the audience cares about, because otherwise they can go online and take their chances of the information that they're going to receive.
Well, I mean, advertiser is no longer king or queen in our business. It's a very corrective move to put the reader, the audience, as the king and queen of what we are doing. And that's why we are able to charge very high cover prices, because we are giving them a curated, well documented package with beautiful pictures printed on beautiful paper, uh, a keepsake that they are not going
Yeah.
to throw. And the biggest example, I mean, I'm talking at the Drupa Cube on truth and misinformation and fake news. I mean, these are things, I mean, I taught journalism for 37 years. And until like maybe the mid 2015, 2016, we never referred to fake news but it was the introduction of social media in which back in the late 90s and moving up, in which everyone thought that they are a journalist. If they can put like 140 characters together, then they become a journalist. And you know the old saying that says, if everyone is a journalist, then no one is a journalist.
Well,
And
I see, but I would say that everybody's a reporter. Not everyone's a journalist. There are two different
no,
things with
everybody
that,
is an
no?
opinion maker. There's a
Okay,
big difference.
I
There's
think that's what
because
I was saying.
yeah,
Yeah, but
because the
yes,
reporter seeks to give you the real information and seeks to, you know, one of the premises that people find sometimes disagree with me, but I learned that from my journalism school, even in my days in Lebanon. When a journalist gives his or her opinion, he or she is no longer a journalist. I mean, that I was giving that
true.
premise when I was in school. And
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about, like back in the mid 70s of the last
yeah,
century. So, and now the sad thing is between social media and television, I mean, you really have to search hard to find the news. I mean, one of the examples I'm going to give at the Drupa Cube about the truth and fake news is that deep fake about Taylor Swift. I mean,
yeah,
20 magazines about Taylor Swift. I mean, nobody ever said that these are fake, or this is not pictures of her, or this is not what she looked like or she did or that. Yet, I mean, people posted this deep fake about her and using AI and IA and other stuff that people can use and manipulate. And plus, they can always change. I mean, all
yeah,
what I need to do on my blog, just like hit delete and just change as if nothing have happened. But in print, you do a mistake, you own it. I mean,
yeah.
it's your mistake. You have to tell people it's a mistake and you have to apologize to people. You can just change it and keep on moving on.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a few times that you're speaking at the Drupa Cube. And once I found out that you were speaking at the Drupa Cube, I reached out immediately to see if you would come and join us at Drupa DNA to have a conversation about the future of publishing and what you like to refer to as bookazines or magalogs, magazines and catalogs. This is also your first Drupa, which I just found out about. Can you speak about that, please?
Yeah, in fact, I was very honored that you asked me to join you also for the Drupa DNA. So it's like a dream come true on both, I mean, the cube and the DNA. And especially for somebody who've never been to Drupa, but always dreamt of going to Drupa. I mean, but with my consulting business and with my travel, there was always a conflict that I could not make it. But as they say, sometimes good things come out from bad things. I had a massive heart attack back in August, which means I cleared my calendar and had plenty of time to decide what I want to do. And thanks to my doctor and all the great people and the new technologies that I'm back on the saddle and cleared my calendar because I wanted to be in Drupa. And I really thank you for the invite. The sad thing is I'm not staying too long. I wish I can stay like you from May 28th till June. Uh, but as they say, I mean, I'm a grandpa and I have 7 grandkids. I have to can be away from them a lot.
When we were speaking before I push record, you had mentioned that you from a distance across the ocean, you had always appreciated how drupa kept focus on print, but wasn't blinded by that. Can you share
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
meant by that?
That's the, I mean, you in our circles, you can't mention the word drupa without people directly thinking like, wow, that's like sort of like the best place to meet and learn and gain information, especially about print, without ignoring the fact that we live in a digital age. I mean, it's one of those conferences or one of those meetings that take time day after day after day, with the emphasis is on again print, uh, and I don't think you will ever hear the word print is dead over there. I mean, you're not even hearing it here, because I mean, if you look at all the newsletters that I've been receiving in the last like month or two, you think people are discovering print new. I mean, all everybody is telling you about why print is good, what's happening in print, and I just saw a study uh, either in Norway or in Sweden. I'm not sure yet, but a study that showed that did analysis of I think it was college kids, those who take notes handwriting and those who take notes on their laptops or iPad, and there was a big difference between those who take notes using their hands and writing in terms of understanding, comprehension. So we are starting to see that you know digital is not going to be the end of print, or is like, I don't know if I mentioned offline or now, or it's like the same thing, like the microwave, nobody threw their stoves
Right.
out of the kitchen because they have a microwave, or
Yeah.
nobody threw the microwave out because we have an air fryer now. And by the way, there's 5 or 6 magazines devoted to air fryers.
As there should be. I am currently obsessed with my air fryer, and I tell you, I spend a lot of time on Instagram and TikTok, honestly, watching these very quick um recipe ideas for air fryers. It's quite fascinating, the whole movement around them. It makes sense that there's a magazine. Okay, Dr. Husni, Mr. Magazine, I just want to thank you so much for your time. And I will make sure that I put links in the show notes so everyone can get in touch with you and find out. You certainly speak more around the world and are still doing interviews. I see those on social media. Everybody should follow Mr. Magazine. And that's it. Do you have any final words? Why
Well,
should
thank
people,
you. Thank you. I
you
mean,
know,
I feel I have been very blessed that my hobby became my education, became my profession, and that I was able to speak about the topic I enjoy and like, magazines and print, on every continent on the face of this earth, except for Antarctica. I'm waiting for the penguins to start their own magazine,
let me
and
tell you
we'll talk
something.
about the
I have the same problem with podcasts. I have nobody listening on podcasts, but now there are actually researchers from down in the South Pole who are making TikTok videos and showing people how cold it is. So I'm going to connect with somebody to listen to a podcast. So I'll see if they have a need for a speaker, and maybe or maybe we can get them to tune in to watch this, and then you have spoken in
Well,
Antarctica.
thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in person and looking forward to meeting the folks at Drupa. And I hear a lot about Dusseldorf, and the only place I've been in Dusseldorf is the airport. So
Oh,
I'm
well, it's
going to
very
venture
cool.
outside the airport.
The whole city becomes Drupa City. And just to clarify, Mr. Magazine and I have met a million times. He just means like me
Yeah,
seeing,
yeah. See you
it-
in person. I
yeah,
mean,
seeing each
yeah,
person. Okay. Until next time, print long, publish long, and prosper.
thank you.